All right, here we go.
Welcome to the Better Than Yesterday Everyday Podcast, where we cover anything related to behavior change that will increase your long-term wellness and happiness. And now, here are your hosts, personal trainer and RNs, Matt and Jenna Lane.
What is happening, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Better Than Yesterday Everyday Podcast. My name is Matt. Typically, you'd hear, and my name's Jenna, but it's just going to be me and my guy, Miles, today. Miles ran through my 30-day full body group challenge, but his story it started way before this. I was very much a stepping stone with this 30-day challenge, but just a very, very driven person. Dropped around, let's see here, went from 260 to 190 over the course of 2 years. I really want to dive into him and talk about and that was at that time. I don't know what he's at now, but I want to dive into him and talk to him about the long term. How'd he do it? And I don't know, just such warm feelings I get from this guy. Really, really enjoy him as a human being, and on a fitness level, it's just I don't know, I love him. So, Miles, man, I appreciate you hopping on.
Hey, man, I appreciate that. Love you too, bro. It's hard, but it's easy. You know, it's weird.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, yeah, before we dive all the way into it, if you're new to this podcast, we're all about implementing behavior change for your long-term wellness and happiness. If you are watching this on YouTube, on the thebtyepodcast on YouTube, did you know you can also listen to it? That's right. It's on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, all those places. So there's a link in the description below if you want to watch it. But, man, how are you doing now? Like, again, you were at that one point and, oh, look at me. I'm screwing up here. And
yeah,
I didn't go into the gratitude point.
Oh,
look at this. I know. I'm all off base. I want to dive into this, man. At the top of every show, we always hit you with our gratitude point. This is something that is meant to shift your perspective. If you're having a down day, if you're down and out and you've lost that perspective, man, my life blows. This is really the moment where you can reach for this gratitude point to shift your perspective. I'll go first that I'm actually, as corny as it sounds, and it's almost a layup, I'm really happy for fitness connections. Had it not been for fitness, I don't know if I ever would have met Miles. It's tough to speculate, but yeah. I mean, I don't know. I really don't know.
Sure.
I'm happy for fitness and making those connections, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have known about y'all like through YouTube, but like there wouldn't have been like a true like connection like us talking right now. I would have just been a viewer, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's cool how it brings people
awesome.
It's cool how it brings people together without a doubt. So I'm very grateful for that. If you got a gratitude point, hit us with it.
I got a couple, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Actually. My first gratitude point I want to give to the kind people at Burn Boot Camp that really set me and my wife on this fitness journey.
Yes.
They, run by Deepal and Mo, they have really made such a cool culture of just like, they don't want to force you into anything, but if you're willing to go in there and you're willing to put in the work, they're willing to work with you and they're willing to push you there. And I feel like that was just such a different thing for me. And that really helped my wife, like, cause she is by no means a fitness like buff. Her knees always hurt. Like she's always just like, ugh, this, ugh, that, but she's in there 4 days a week, all the time.
Nice.
Like at this point, because of my work schedule, she's there more often than I am. and that leads into my second gratitude point. I'm super grateful for my wife and how she continually just kills it. She's hitting her goals. She's creating new ones. She just did, she texted me the other day, and these always make my heart warm whenever I'm at work. And she texts me something like this. She's like, I killed double unders today. When you're doing the jump rope and she goes under twice, like, she was like, I killed it today. And I was like, 3 months ago, she wouldn't have even like attempted a double under. And now she's doing like 4 or 5 in a row. And I can do one and I smack myself in the ankles. Right.
Dude, that's so cool. So, like, that's so cool for her.
I love it, man.
Yeah,
it's just so cool that like it's something that's really made our relationship. And I guess that really leads into your gratitude points as well,
Yeah.
right? The fitness connection, us going to the gym together has really like made our relationship and our marriage stronger because it helps us have that codependence of,
Yep.
make sure you're going to the gym, make sure we're eating right, make sure you're getting your water intake in kind of deal.
Good for her for finding that groove though, you know, like,
Oh man.
and like, I truly believe that you find that groove when you have the things around you that are supporting you, whether it's your loved one or friend, or maybe it's the gym itself, maybe it's a piece of equipment, maybe it's the gym clothing. I mean, there's usually a handful of things that are around you that support you, that get you into that groove. I'm stupid happy for her, because like getting into the groove is the toughest part, you know. Good for her.
Well, yeah, because a lot of people, it's hard for that instant gratification bit that all of us are so used to right now with Netflix binging and being able to get any information anytime as soon as possible on your smartphone.
Yep.
Right? Like, you don't get, for working out and for fitness, there is no instant gratification. It is a 6-month, 12-month, 18-month process that you may not see results for a long time, and you may not see the results you want. You may get stronger before you get lighter.
Yep.
You know, that kind of thing. So it's just trying to find someone or something that keeps you going in there to keep you motivated. That isn't such an immediate, like, oh, cool, I see these results, I need to keep going.
It's such a long game, you know, and that's where I want to, you know, dive into you. Like, I wanted to, and I told Miles before we hopped on here, like, he did go through the 30-day full body group challenge. I wanted it to be so much less of a plug for that and so much more of a plug of him and what he's done, because, you know, when you joined the 30-day full body group challenge, you had already been very active. You were doing the challenge along with your other stuff. But what you shared with the entire group in that challenge was before you left. At the end of it, you dropped it in the group, and I actually went back and read it today to refresh my memory. But you said, you know, that your goals keep changing as your body keeps changing. You know, going from 260 to 190 over 2 years. How was that 2-year time frame? Well, you know what? I take that back. First of all, because I know you. I got to know you so well. For anybody that doesn't know you, who are you? Like, why did you start in fitness?
Okay, so in high school, I used to be like a pretty fit guy. I played football. And then for some reason or another, I quit football and I started working at McDonald's. And that's just immediately a terrible choice.
Sure.
Don't quit fitness to work in fast food. I'll tell you that right now, because you will lose fitness very quickly. Yeah. You'll start fitness these burgers in your mouth. You know,
a lot of temptation. A lot of temptation.
Not great. Fast forward, I'm 25 years old. I'm 250 pounds. I go to the doctor for the first time since I was probably 18 years old. I can't remember even why. I think my mom said you should just do it. And so I listened to my mother. And I went in and she said, and maybe you'll be able to tell me, being a nurse. I'm sorry, you're a nurse, correct?
Yeah.
Nurse, being a nurse, you might be able to know like the actual terms. I was like 0.1 like diabetic point away from being pre-diabetic or something like that.
Okay, so you were close to being a pre-diabetic. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what that's called, like A3I or something like that, or I couldn't tell you.
H3I goes to show you my level of being a nurse. How fantastic.
But no, I was just right there, and at that point I just said I don't want to give myself shots every day. Yeah. Because if anything, I didn't even think into the future until now. I don't want to, die at an early age. Yeah. Didn't even think that through. Now I see that's a huge deal. So she got me started on, I believe it was called phentermine. Yeah. Which was an appetite suppressant. It's going to speed you up. That's right. Yeah. Which was great. I thought it was a perfect thing. My diet was, I would make sure to eat a bowl of Fiber One in the morning. I would take my phentermine, I would go to work, and I would eat a Caesar salad at night. And that's what I ate for probably a month and a half. Really? Yeah. I dropped about 30 pounds in a month and a half, which I can't imagine is too healthy. But that's in my head, I'm like, the number's smaller. Yeah, right? Exactly. So you're like, good. I must be healthy. Yeah. I must be getting healthier because I'm getting smaller and that number's shrinking. And were you active at all at that time, or it was just work? Being I wasn't yet I wasn't a manager yet at my job. I was just still an employee. So I was just going up and down stairs all day, running around the building. So I was just being mildly active, but I wasn't going to the gym or anything.
Okay.
I was actually proud of it at the time. Like, look at me, I'm doing this without going to the gym.
It's almost like a cheat code almost. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like almost promoting some of my friends to like, hey, go to the doctor and see if they'll get you this phentermine. Like,
sure,
help. Like it really helped me out. Maybe it'll help you out.
Of course.
Then this pandemic hit, and I lost that job. I work at a movie theater. I guess I should say that.
I'm so sorry. So sorry to cut you off. Matt's ADD moment, everyone. Was she talking about your hemoglobin A1C?
A1C.
That's it. There it is.
That's
I had to brought back my minimal nursing knowledge. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. We got there. It was going to bother me the whole time too. No, I work at a movie theater. I work for a Cinemark. I was an usher at the time, so I was just cleaning theaters, going up and down stairs. By then, I had been promoted to management, meaning I wasn't going up and down stairs nearly as much. So it wasn't too much. By then, I was under 200. I was probably 195.
Okay.
But I got the promotion. I stopped being as active. I still wasn't going to the gym. And by then I had stopped using phentermine.
Why?
Because I was like, I don't need to use this anymore.
Okay. Because you've achieved the goal.
Yeah. It was most for me when it comes to any kind of pills that aren't like over the counter, like Advil, ibuprofen, unless it's like super like, I can't handle this right now.
Right.
I don't like to put too many pills in my body because unless it's a natural food source, I don't really like to think that it's supposed to be there, but
sure.
I digress. That's a whole nother thing that we don't really have to get into right now. But so I stopped most of my activity. And so I slowly started gaining a little more weight. It was like 5 pounds. I was over 200 again, maybe 205. Not a big deal. Didn't see a problem with it.
Okay.
Because I still looked better.
Okay.
Then the pandemic hit. And I was out of a job. I was sitting around the house.
Yeah.
Mostly just watching TV, playing video games, not doing anything because I was I was lucky enough to get unemployment.
Okay.
So I could still pay rent.
Okay.
But just slowly but surely I would get on the scale, 10 pounds, get on the scale, 10 more pounds until I hit about 225 in June. Okay. I checked the scale and I woke up on June 1st and get down. Sorry, cat's trying to jump on the counter. June 1st, I woke up and I was 225. And it just hit me after months of me being in the apartment by myself, not having a job, just feeling like crap. Just like, look, I just felt like I wasn't doing anything with myself. I wasn't going to the gym. I wasn't progressing. I was digressing.
Before you might be getting into this, but what was it about June 1st? What was it about that 225 that was like, that's it? Because I can tell that's where you're about to go with that.
I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
I think that was when I finally just was like, I'm getting to the point where I was again. And I'm like, I think it was like maybe in my head, I was like, I'm now closer to where I was than I'm closer to where I got to.
That makes total sense. You know? Yeah.
Maybe that was something like that. I couldn't tell you that. We'll roll with that reasoning.
I like it.
Just clicks, right?
I like it.
But June 1st, I texted my mom. I was like, hey, because she's got her finger on the pulse in the community at all times. And so I'm like, hey, do you know of anything that's going on right now, like any gym deals? Because in Texas, even though there was the pandemic going on, they had opened gyms to 50%. Wow, so I was like, is there any like boot camps or gym memberships that you know about that are just starting? And she told me to try this burn boot camp. They were doing a 30 days for $30.
Okay.
I said, I have $30 and I have 30 days. Like, right. What am I doing here?
You got all the time in the world. Sure.
Yeah. And that was around 9:30 in the morning, maybe 9:45. I took a shower, got my gym clothes on, and I went to the 10:30 class. Introduced myself. I went to the whole 30 days. I made sure in my mind on June 1st that I was going to go every single day. Every day I was working out, except for Sunday. They closed on Sunday.
Okay.
But then I would just go to the apartment gym and I would just try and get at least 30 minutes in. But I said that was the first goal that I made, was I'm going to work out for 30 days straight. And we'll see where that takes me. Right? It was just something, like I said at the beginning, it seemed super hard. In your head, if you haven't started working out, it seems hard. Crap, I got to work out for 30 days.
Yep.
But something I told my friend Eric, he was asking me like what I could get him started on. I actually shared some of the 30-day group body challenge with him. I sent some of the workouts to him to help him out. I said, dude, if you just do 15 minutes a day for 30 days, you will have done 12 hours of work as opposed to 0 hours of work by the end of the month.
Yep.
You know, it's even if you can choose 10 minutes, you can choose 20 minutes, you can choose 45 minutes, whatever gets you there and whatever makes you feel like you're progressing in your life, that will help you in the long run when it comes to your physical fitness. But more importantly, it'll help your mental fitness like a lot.
Yep.
Like if you don't feel like you're progressing in your life, you just are naturally going to feel like, can I swear on this?
Absolutely.
I don't know.
Absolutely.
You're going to naturally feel like shit.
Yep.
If you don't feel like you're progressing in your life. So I think I brought it up in your, in one of our Zoom meetings for the 30-day challenge, just making your bed in the morning, man.
It is. So one of the questions I was actually going to bring it. Look at me, the lights. I didn't even do the lights. What a rookie.
Do what you got to do, man. It don't
matter. What a rookie.
We're just winging it today, man. If someone came here for structure, get out.
It's so funny that you say that with, you very intentionally were like, I'm going to go to the gym for 30 days. Like I'm going. Yeah. It's been such a common question that I get. And I'm sure now that you've had, quite a bit of, very objective success. I'm sure you get it all the time. How do you stay motivated, or how do you keep going, or how do you start? And it's, from what I have found, when you very clearly define there, like I do say very often, have your why, what's your reasoning. For you, it was very traumatic, sounds dramatic, but point blank, it was fairly traumatic of someone saying your life's going to change. You're going to have to change the way you go about your life if you keep this lifestyle up. But like, I love what you said was you very much set something in concrete. We're like, this is what it is. But I think what people think is like, if there is that, this is what it is, that it has to be something ridiculous. It has to be like, holy crap, I got to start doing deadlifts and all that. But you're so spot on about just starting and sticking, having this non-negotiable, and it can be something as simple as 15, 20 minutes a day. Yeah,
you don't have to and that's something I tell, because I'll tell them, like, they'll ask me, what did you do? How did you do it? And I say, I don't suggest you do what I did. I don't suggest that you go work out every day for 45 minutes and only eat like vegetables and protein and drink water. I don't suggest quitting cold turkey on 5 or 6 of the things of your habits that you've done. Because it was hard and it sucked.
Yep.
And there were a lot of times that I almost stopped. Right? If you it's not an easy thing, and it's still not an easy thing.
Yeah.
Every day I think maybe today I'll get a burger, or maybe I'll get a pizza.
Yep.
But then I'll make the choice to get the salad, but it's an everyday, maybe I'll do this instead.
Yep.
It's not like my entire thought process is just gone. It's not like this is who I am now and I'm never going back.
Yep.
Right. It's an everyday decision making challenge for me. And it extends to my self-image. I think I checked 2 days ago. I think I'm at 195 right now.
Okay.
That's great. Good job for me, right?
Absolutely.
Go Miles. But every single day that I don't eat well, if I eat that hamburger instead of eating that salad, in my head, I just gained 10 pounds. Because of all of how I used to look, of how I used to be, I'm in consistent fear of going back.
I just dropped my pen.
Right? I'm just afraid of how I'm going to look if I don't keep going all the time.
Okay.
And I don't suggest anybody do that, because it can be mentally damaging if you don't have the proper supporting system like I do.
And so that's what I was going to ask. I was like, how do you, like, you pretty much explained it, but how do you feel about that? Because that's exactly what popped in my head was like, and I know you're not alone in that if you, almost sort of, I mean, do you find yourself beating yourself up when you do actually eat the burger, or what? Like
all the time?
100%. Yeah. So like,
not a question. It's almost immediate.
Have you gotten any better since 2 years ago? Maybe not.
Better at what? What do you mean?
Well, so I mean, and first of all, I want to say to anybody listening, to anybody watching, the comparison game will never. I mean, that never does any. That does never. It doesn't do anything good. However, for myself, I've been into this for 11 years. I just simply have more time in it. I mean, when you're around something more, you adapt more, you learn more. So for me, there's much less beating myself up. I have so much less judgment than I had, in my first year, 2, 3, 4, even the 5th year, of beating myself up, because I've learned that what I call fitness maturity, or this balance piece. So it's interesting to hear you say that, because, even in 2 years in, still working on that.
Oh, sure. It's a consistent mental game.
Without a doubt.
And I just hope anybody who's listening knows that. Like, I don't want them to think that, like, if I do this for 6 months, I'll be better and it'll be done.
It'll be done.
Like,
right.
You're never going to be done,
right,
as long as, because if you don't have more goals for yourself after you hit your next goals, then you've lost. You're right. Like, if I hit my 190 and I said,
I'm
it's
done.
over.
Yep. Exactly.
Right. I'm just going to go to In-N-Out and I'm going to have a double with some animal style fries. And
sounds fantastic, but yes.
And then it just sounds great, right? But it's not, I don't know, man. I'm trying to find my words. But we're going to have a Miles ADD moment. Throw it on there. I just said this yesterday to one of my employees who asked me how I do it and how I stay motivated. I consider it to my financial well-being as well. I want to live like I am now, so I don't have to live like I am later.
Okay. All right.
That makes sense.
I like it a lot.
Like, I want to make sure that I keep myself, if I put myself through all this hardship now with this consistent struggling to keep my weight down, to make sure that I'm staying mentally and physically fit, to keep everything, to make myself healthy. If I make myself healthy now, I can consistently keep myself healthy for the foreseeable future, rather than when I'm 60, my doctor saying, there's nothing really you can do because we can't tell you to go to the gym and pump iron,
Exactly.
Like you're fragile.
Yep. That's true.
So if I can't get this in check now, later, I won't be able to get this in check. It's just like with your finances. If you don't get yourself in check now, it's just a snowball of just shit.
It's so true. You're speaking so my language right now. And like, if you don't know, if you're new to this podcast, I am a registered nurse and a personal trainer. But as a nurse, I worked in an ICU setting. I have a different role as a nurse now, but when I did work in an ICU setting, that was my first role. That's all I wanted to do. Just become a nurse, man. That's it. That's going to be the pinnacle. I don't know what's going to happen after that, but like, that's it, man. I've accomplished so much if I could do that. And 80% of the patients I saw was all self-induced stuff. And I just saw that, and it spoke so loudly to my own fitness and whatnot. But these weren't all young people. I mean, it was a bunch of different age ranges, but when I would see 80-year-olds, 90-year-olds, I was like, you can talk to the 30, 40, 50, 60, hell, even 70. I mean, you can do stuff, but like, 80, 90, I mean, there is only so much you can do when your health is so depressed. Like, sure, the 90-year-old, the 80-year-old can still pick up eating habits and walk and do certain things, but so much damage has been done that, there is a certain amount that you can do at that point. So that's awesome that you had that scare, that traumatic event that triggered it, you know?
Yeah. And I feel it, and it kind of led me to this isn't an ad, to the 30 body group challenge. My purpose behind that was, I didn't know what it was going to be. I didn't know if it was going to be like a start small, start medium, start large deal.
Mm-hmm.
But it turned out it did start a little small, at least for me. I was a little more experienced than some of the people in our group, which, by the way, if any of you guys are listening, I hope you all are doing great. I know Di saw that I was going to be on here today, so I know she's going to be listening.
Yep.
I hope she's still going strong.
She's
and
doing great. She's doing
thriving,
great.
man.
Mason's doing it. Deb.
Yes.
So Deb is Renee's wife. She's doing it.
Cool.
Cam's still going. They're all in the 90-day. So at the end of this month, they'll go into the 120. So they've been doing great.
Them.
They're doing great.
What me being a part of the 30 group challenge turned into was, I realized these first 15 or so days, I'm just going to be like, okay, done, workout's over.
Right.
It really turned into me just trying to make sure that I was keeping others motivated. Right.
Okay.
It turned into me just making sure I was consistently going in the chat, just cheering them on, trying to see like I was starting to make notes of like, okay, this person did it. This person did it. This person did it. Where's he at?
Yep.
Why is he not here yet?
Yep.
Kind of thing. Cause I just wanted to make sure that they were staying committed, if anything, just because they spent money on it, like make it worth your wallet, but make it worth your time and make it worth yourself.
You feel like that did anything for you?
Motivating them?
Yeah. Do you think it didn't? I know it obviously did a lot for them, but like, did it do anything for you to be that person?
It gave me a purpose, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. It gave me a purpose, and it made me realize that's kind of what I want. I like it. I like that. I'm at a point where people are now coming to me and asking me if they get to the point where they're like, I don't know, man, I just feel like I can do more with myself. I feel like I should be doing more.
That spark.
You know, I feel like since I've done so well for myself, or at least it seems that way from the outside.
Absolutely.
That people can feel free to come to me. And I love that. I love that people are able to come to me and say, hey, what should I do with this? What should I do with that? This is my goal. How can I reach it? I love that, because one of my favorite things about like just any kind of job I've ever had, I used to work in education. Now I work with guest relations at a movie theater, is I love making people feel better. I love making people feel comfortable, and I love making people's potential negative day into a positive one. Right? It goes into the tattoo I have on my arm about mental alchemy. Just taking all that negative crap that consistently comes at us all day, every day, through social media, through news outlets, through, sometimes it can be family, sometimes it could be your friends, and just saying, okay, but how can I make this good? How can I twist this into something positive and turn it into something that makes not only myself feel great, but makes others feel great?
Perspective. Yeah.
And it's just that helping the people in the 30-day group challenge helped me through that. Like, it made me realize, like, is this something I can pursue, like, through other means?
Have you ever considered, now that after doing this for 2 years, that you are actually an authority figure to some people?
Yes, and it bothers me, it freaks me out, and it baffles me. That because if you could talk to any of my like 5 group of friends, guys in my friend group that are like, I've known them for 12 years now, they would tell you to keep me off this podcast because I'm just an idiot. I tell my employees that all the time. Like, I'll give you advice. I'll tell you what I think, but in the end, I'm just an idiot that gets paid a little bit more than you. Like, it's really like, just do what you got to do to make yourself happy. But this is how I think you can make yourself happy.
I honestly think that's just humility, because for anybody listening or watching, that's me too, man. I don't know it all. Like, I am a personal trainer and a nurse and all that crap. I don't know it all. I'm still learning. And I think when you are forever a student, when you're willing to say, I'm just an idiot that's learning, like,
I'm just the guy that is talking right now.
That is so smart to be able to do that. I'm serious. Like, how ironic is that? But when you don't have to have that compensation piece of like, I know it all and whatnot, like you truly are an authority figure. I mean, you have objectively had success in your health and well-being. I mean, so let me ask you this: Do you feel like
Sure.
Maybe yes, you are an authority figure, but like it's an imposter syndrome because you simply don't have like a certification behind your name or something like that? Do you think you're not technically qualified?
Yes, there's that, right?
Okay.
There's that whole thing where like, I'm not a doctor, but like kind of, it's that kind of thing.
Sure.
Where I'm willing to give you the advice from my personal experience, but I certainly don't have any sort of, this is in no way a professional opinion on any sort of case studies or
Right.
research that I've done. This is just, I did this is what happened.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it happens for everybody.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Do you feel like, so backing up a little bit, you talked about how you were like, I very much was, you were hardcore and you very much were like, it's going to be 30 days. This is what I'm going to do. And you cut out a lot. Do you have what you would call like that alpha mentality? Is that you?
I mean, do I think that I'm a leader?
Yeah, the classic alpha mentality, and I don't mean like, classic alpha mentality where you have to drive a truck and compensation. I don't mean that part. I mean like, there's an alpha piece of you. Maybe you're not as reserved as some people. Typically I've found that there's really two different types of people, and up until this point, what I've learned, there are these alpha type people that they do better with, this is it. I'm cutting it out cold turkey. This is it. This is how I'm going to do it. And they have success from that. Most people I've found are not that alpha style, and they do benefit from 15 minutes every day, something light, and then the consistency piece really getting into there.
Sure.
Do you feel like you're more driven towards that alpha mentality?
I feel like based on the alpha mentality you described, I have to be, right?
Yeah.
Like, because I don't know. Every sort of goal I create, I kind of make sure that it's like the 110, 120% goal. And that is a new kind of mentality that I've gained.
Okay. You think through this process?
So not even just through this process, because through the more recent one of starting in June.
Okay.
Over like the quarantine period.
Okay. So that really shifted you. Okay. Got it.
It my whole mentality on just like how I want to live my life, both like physically, mentally, emotionally, professionally, everything has completely changed.
Okay.
So much so that my general manager pulled me into his office the other day and asked me, well, I don't want to say that you were a bad worker or a bad manager by any means, because you were like a good manager, but you're clearly more driven now than you were before when we shut down in March.
Wow.
And we just sat down and talked for like 20 minutes about that. And it was just like, and it's hard to reflect on yourself, right? I don't know how well you are at that. I feel like self-reflection is the hardest thing anybody can do. So you're asking me like, do I feel this? Do I feel that? I couldn't fucking tell you.
Really?
Yeah, I risk sounding conceited, and I risk sounding all about myself when I think that way. And I don't want to think that way, because I don't feel good leaders are conceited and think highly of themselves. And I want to make sure that I'm a good leader for my employees, and I'm a good leader for those around me. Well,
and like, if let's just say you were conceited, let's just say that was,
sure,
it comes through in the words, the way you carry yourself. And that's never what I gathered about you, without a doubt.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, the self-reflection piece of everything is such like a thing that it's hard, like trying to see yourself the way that others see you, whether it's a negative or a positive thing. It's the hardest part of this.
For sure.
And if anything, it goes back to the losing weight, whether you're losing a little bit, a lot of bit, trying to gain strength, trying to gain muscle, trying to gain anything, trying to lose anything, right? You're never going to see it in yourself before others do.
100% right.
And and when people tell you that you're losing weight, that, oh my gosh, you're gaining muscle, you're going to try to convince yourself that they're just trying to make you feel better.
It's so true. That's spot. I could not have said that any better. You're so right. You're so right. Like, even when you hear those compliments, you're like, quit bullshitting. Like, that's not.
Yeah. And that's what I heard in the last podcast with Jenna and you on the walk, was you were just like, she was saying, I don't want to paraphrase.
No, you're good.
I don't want to put words in her mouth.
It's all good.
But the entire time she was saying stuff like, I'm just not as strong as you. I don't feel as motivated as you. I don't feel like I'm making any progress. And you're just like, but you are strong. You are making progress. You are doing this. You are as strong as me. I could tell I don't even want to say that, because again, I'm putting words in her mouth.
She didn't feel it. No, she didn't feel it.
Believe it.
No,
she couldn't believe it. She couldn't feel it, because you can't. You're just there, like, because especially from you, like, you're her husband.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't feel that way, which you 100% do, every step of the way, in her head, he's my husband. He's got to tell me that.
He has to say that. Absolutely.
Right? Like, he has to say that.
Yep.
It has to come from a third party that has nothing to gain from motivating her.
Yep.
And that goes for myself. That goes for my wife. That goes for Eric, my employee.
Yep.
That goes for any of my servers that come to me asking me what they should eat for the day, because they see me eat a salad every day with the same 2 pieces of grilled chicken.
Yep.
You're never, like, if any of them tell me, wow, you look good today, or I can tell you're losing weight, or this or this or that, I know in the very, very back of my head that they mean it, because they're all great people.
Yeah.
But in the front of my head, I'm thinking, they're my employees. What do they want from me?
Yeah.
Right. And there's nothing I can do to stop it.
Yeah.
Like, I can't push it. I can't push what's in the back, in the front. I can't push what's in the front, in the back. It's just never going to happen, unless it's going to happen over time, I hope.
Yep.
Maybe in, 11 years, but.
Well, and, like, you can't stop your thoughts. You can't stop what you're thinking. You cannot stop that. Now you can do.
You have to train it.
And I was gonna say, you can train that. Like, as you say that, I feel like that comes from a confidence piece, and I could be wrong for you, but knowing Jenna, and I know that comes from a confidence piece with her. And if you're wondering what episode he's talking about, I'm pretty sure it was episode 94, 95. It was the one that we were walking and recording on my phone. But yeah, you're 100% right. And I want to speak to
episode 95.
It was 95. Thank you.
Yeah, just look it up.
I want to speak to the people that are supporting the spouse, friend, family member. Something that I have always done to Jenna, I have always been lovingly, brutally honest. If the dress makes her look fat, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be like, it doesn't compliment you as much as you would probably like. You definitely can, choose your words correctly, but the moment that I lie to her about those things is when I lose credibility, and I know that, just like what you're saying, you don't believe it. So it helps. I still don't think it changes things completely, but she truly knows that when she asks me, I am giving my honest opinion. She might not believe it in the moment of like, no, I do look terrible. You're saying I look great, but I look terrible.
Yeah, but upon reflection,
without a doubt. But I look at that as the responsibility to do the more difficult thing and being like, well, babe, no, I don't. I don't think it is as flattering as it could be on you, but it's not like you look like shit. No, you look awful,
Yeah.
And I look at that as a good thing, although I know that it's very common that you do the opposite, where you're like, oh no, you look great. Yeah, you look great.
That's definitely a long run positive way of doing things.
Without a doubt. But like the moment that she asks, do I look good in this dress? Or like, does this dress make me look fat? No, babe, you look fantastic. You look great. She knows I'm being honest. It immediately puts that compliment for me like on a higher pedestal, because she knows it's true,
For sure.
Yeah, without a doubt.
That's smart.
Tell me this.
Some would argue, but it's smart.
Without a doubt. She did not understand it 11 years ago at first. So, but I guess she finally got to know me.
There's been a lot of growth in y'all's marriage based on other podcasts, man.
Yeah, without a doubt. Without a doubt. So tell me this. This is something that I ask very often, and you're very much the thinker, the driven person. It's very obvious through this podcast and just my knowing you, but what is your definition of happiness? I feel like it's different for everyone. There's no right or wrong answer.
Man, for me, happiness is my joy in life comes from the people around me thriving and being happy. And that and some can see that as me being a more dependent person. I do find happiness in other things. Like I do love, I love hanging out with my wife and going places. I love when I used to work out at 5 a.m, the little time between then, I would just sit down and read for like a half hour. That was like one of my favorite parts of the day. Just to self-reflect on myself. I don't know. I don't get a lot of joy from things that just benefit me.
Interesting.
So for me, happiness comes from making sure that whether it's my wife, whether it's my dog, whether it's my cats, my family, my employees, my coworkers, happiness for me comes from making sure that the people around me are living their lives to the fullest and making sure that they're, even not even their life, because that's pretty big picture. I'll even bring it down to just like making sure that their day is going as good as it can. And I'm doing what I can to make sure that their day is as good as it can be.
I love that answer. Go ahead. I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. And again, it could be perceived as such a negative thing because there are times when there's nothing I can do. Yesterday, one of my coworkers or one of my employees told me that he accidentally hit like a woman's car or something, like with his door in the lot. And so he's waiting for her to call. There's nothing I can do to get that out of his head. You know, there's nothing I can say, nothing I can do. All I can do is make sure that I don't add onto that. Yeah. And if that's what that means for him personally, for making sure his day is okay, then that works for me.
Okay.
But
that's awesome.
Whatever I can do to make sure that other people have a great day, making sure other people are progressing, whether it's financially, whether it's physically, emotionally, mentally, that's what keeps me happy.
I love, basically the answer was, it was selfless. It was a selfless answer of what happiness is to you, which is incredible. It's, again, not right or wrong. Whatever your definition, if you're listening and watching, whatever your definition is, that's exactly what it should be. But I love it that you said, I don't really get much joy when it's just for myself. You said something, I'm paraphrasing, but that's great.
And it could just be because I'm such an easy person. Like I could just be just a simple man, right? Just that dumb idiot that we talked about earlier. Just just sit me down, tell me what to do. I'll done. But I don't. If people want to do things for me, and it comes from gift giving too. Whenever Christmas and birthdays come around, people get frustrated with me because they're like, is this something you want? I'm like, sure, whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess.
I
If you don't want to get somebody that told me like, hey, money's pretty tight today, I'm not going to be able to get you much. I was like, dude, whatever.
Yeah.
Just spend time with the family this year and I'll be good. If you tell me that you had a great Christmas with family, I'll be happy. And that'll be a great gift.
Chalking it up to I don't need more stuff. I'm right there with you.
I don't need it, man. Get me a pair of socks if you really want to get me something.
My man.
I love socks.
Jenna knows that. Yep.
Dude,
the same way.
It's what I'm known for at Burn, at this boot camp I go to, is I'm the idiot that goes too hard and wears the stupid socks with the shorts on. I wear socks up to my knees sometimes. They just look at me and just say, I like nice socks. Cool.
You have themed socks with donuts and stuff like that on it?
Yeah. And I even go the extra step of I don't care to match my socks in my drawer. So I just reach in and grab 2 pairs of socks. One of them has Army Men on it. The other one has burgers.
So let me switch it a little bit here and putting you on the spot.
Go for it.
And I think throughout the 30-day full body group challenge, I had mentioned it what my 3 pieces are, but I only want you to answer what yours are. If you had to give only 3 of the most important fitnesses, if you had to give only 3 pieces to be successful with fitness, what would they be? What has it been for you?
Consistency, support, and drive.
Okay.
You need the consistency. We talked about that already on this episode.
Sure.
Of just whether it's 45 minutes a day or 15 minutes a day, as long as you're going in a consistent way, whether it's a daily or 3 days a week, as long as you set the goal and you're consistent with that goal, you're going to be successful one way or the other. That's how. It's not even just with fitness. It's with anything.
Yep.
Like,
it's true.
If you're consistent in your goals, it'll get there.
Yep.
Support. I don't think anybody can do anything by themselves. I just don't think that's possible. I think that you need to make sure you have a solid support system, whether that's one person, that's a spouse, a friend, a trainer. That's what they're there for. They're mostly there for support. They're there to tell you like how to do things, but they're mostly there just to tell you, hey, don't put that down. You need to pick that back up.
It's true.
And then drive, you got to want it.
Yep.
You can't be told, you can't tell somebody you need to go to the gym and then expect them to go to the gym.
Yep. It's true.
They have to want to do it themselves. And it sucks sometimes because sometimes if you're the support system and you see that person, you're like, man, they're just unhappy right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that they're unhappy because they're not setting goals. They're not reaching goals. I wish they would do this. There's nothing you can do until they figure that out, until they want that themselves.
It's so true. I have never once spoken with a client, anybody that's been in the 30-day or anybody that I've trained individually. There's never been one time that I've ever scolded anyone or been like, you need to do this or raise my voice, because no one responds well to that. And it's, you can only from the trainer standpoint, you can only give as much as you can give and give all those pieces and the support and all that. But if the person still is not doing whatever they need to be doing, the last thing you should do is throw shade or shame or you need to do this or you're screwing up, because there's obviously some sort of disconnect. There's obviously something that is not clicking. Yelling never gets you any farther. So I agree with you. That's that support.
Well, and if you're from a trainer's perspective, I can't imagine. I imagine it's an ethical thing,
without a doubt.
Like if you can tell that they don't want to do it and they're not getting any better, and you've been training them for 3 months and they haven't hit even the smallest of their goals, at that point you're just taking their money, and that's just unethical.
Well,
right? You have to as a trainer, you're going to have to want it as bad as they want it.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. Without a doubt. And it's so, and I've been in that boat before, and I, I know that scolding does nothing. It's going to do nothing. And I go to, and this is for anybody that is that support person that, if the person is not doing quote unquote what they should be doing, there's a reason for that. I mean, maybe it is like, okay, they're just being lazy, they don't want to do it, but maybe there's something deeper. Maybe there is something mentally, and go for the question of why are they not doing it rather than you're not doing it, because you can get to the root of it.
Well, also when I was in education, I worked with a lot of kids that had emotional disorders. So we had the first thing that I learned there was, which leans into the behavioral change really, was if you're trying to adjust a behavior, you can't just say stop. You have to find a replacement behavior for that. It works for people, it works for children, it works for dogs, it works for cats. If if they're doing something wrong and you just say stop that, that's just why. They want to know why. But if you say stop doing that, go do this. So it's, sure, I'll go do that. Right? It just, there's no behavior change if you're just telling them stop. You're just stopping a behavior. You're not changing a behavior.
It's so true. Yeah, that's always sort of been my philosophy around training. And when I went through I have a sub-certification in behavior change. When I went through that, it was, the personal training aspect, you're 100% right. You know, the biggest part of what a trainer does is the accountability. Everything I offer in the 30-day full body group challenge, you can find it on the internet. There's no magic hidden trick. You know, with a trainer, you're paying for that accountability. You're paying for that, you know, the expertise of like, this is how you do it, like you said. But, you know, I just totally lost my train of thought.
Smack the button. There it is.
But crap, where was I going with that? Sweet Lord.
No hidden piece.
There's no hidden piece. Sweet Lord. It is gone. Totally gone. Just
the hidden piece reminds me of those advertisements on YouTube. Just like,
yeah. We actually talked.
Still get those, man.
Yep. Oh yeah. We actually talked about that not long ago in one of the videos. But crap, I really wish I remember what I was going with that because I just it was something good. Something good. Well, awesome, man. Yeah, I really appreciate you jumping on this. It means a lot. This conversation flowed as easily as I thought it would. It means a lot. In closing, is there anything that you would tell someone that you already haven't said, or like in closing, if they have started, or if they are just starting, for the consistency piece to the 2 years that you've been doing it, for the long-term consistency piece?
You are always doing better than you think you are. You are going to think that you could be doing better. You're going to be thinking that you could be losing more. You're doing fine. If you're remaining consistent and you're going to the gym and you're eating and you're watching your calorie count through MyFitnessPal or MyPlate or any of sort of those apps, and if you're doing just a little bit all the time, you're doing better than if you did nothing none of the time, or if you did a lot one time.
I love it.
You're doing that. I guess I'll just leave on that, right? You're doing better than you think you are.
I love it. Yeah, I found like with that consistency, it will eventually breed intensity, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what an awesome way to end it.
It takes time.
Yep. Heck yeah, man. Well, good for you. I'm happy for you. Shout out to Burn Boot Camp. You said DePaul and Mo?
DePaul and Mo. There's a lot of trainers there. I couldn't name them all, but
shout out to them, man. That's awesome. I'm happy for you that you have that home base. I'm happy for your wife as well. That's awesome. Shout out to the both of you. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you. We are here every week, Tuesday, 5:30 a.m. Central Time. Again, if you were listening, there is a video version where you get to see our pretty mugs. But thank you so much. I truly appreciate you. There's a bunch of links in the description below. Go check them out. Miles, again, man, thanks for coming on.
Absolutely.
All right, y'all. We'll talk to you next week.
This has been the Better Than Yesterday Everyday Podcast. We want to thank you for listening and invite you to subscribe to the show as well. And follow Matt Lane Fitness on YouTube. Until next time, you don't have to be perfect. Just be better than yesterday every day.
Heck yeah, man. I knew it was going to go that great.
That was good, man.
Great job, man.
That was pretty good.
Heck yeah.